Good afternoon. Welcome to Seaford Oval in Queanbeyan. A beautiful afternoon for football, although we look across to the far side of the ground, there's a bit of grey cloud around. I don't think that rain will infringe upon us. We'll check out the weather radar as the afternoon progresses, but right now, just about perfect conditions for football, which is what you want at finals time, and we are right in the thick of finals for the 2018 Austbrokers International Canberra Raiders Cup competition. It's preliminary final day here at Seaford Oval. The minor premiers, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, looking to bounce back after losing the major semi-final last week up against the Belconnen Warriors, who won the minor semi-final and in doing so became the first visiting side to win at Sears Oval in Queanbeyan in 2018. So we have an intriguing match in prospect this afternoon. My name is Chris Coleman, and as has become traditional over the past few weeks, alongside me in commentary this afternoon, Sonny Singh. Sonny, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chris, and welcome to the spiritual home of rugby league here in Canberra.
I love being here at Seaford. I love it. The very first game of NRL footy, or NSWRL footy as it was back in those days, I came to was at this ground. I was sitting about 90 metres from where we are now. I was down at the left side of the ground as you look at it on your camera, on your screen this afternoon. It was Canberra versus Norths. It was a night game here. Oh, how things have changed.
So many memories, Chris, and so many famous victories at this ground as well. And I guess today one of these sides will be looking to create another one. There's so much at stake here today. We've got the Bushies looking to secure their first grand final appearance since 2007, and the Warriors their first since winning the competition in 2016. And if you rewind the clock back a couple of weeks, both of these sides were in hugely contrasting form. The Bushies were strolling towards a minor premiership, and the Warriors were struggling just to keep pace with the top four. And now the Bushies are in somewhat of a form slump coming into today. They've lost 3 of their past 4 matches, and the Warriors are flying high, having knocked off the Roos in consecutive weeks.
They have indeed. Let's have a look at the weather conditions right now. I said I would check the weather radar. There are some showers in the region, but when I say in the region, I'm using that fairly loosely, probably about 40 kilometres away at the moment. So fingers crossed they stay off into the distance and we don't get wet here this afternoon. The conditions otherwise, well, it is a 16-degree day here in the nation's capital, which is, or just adjacent to the nation's capital, but forecast top for today was only 15, so we've exceeded that. Bureau does say there's about a 40% chance of rain as the afternoon progresses. The wind, well, officially the wind is blowing at about 20 kilometres an hour from the west-northwest. I'm looking around, and those trees on the far side of the ground aren't moving much, are they? There's a little bit of movement there, so I suspect that 22 kilometres an hour is at an official weather station as opposed to at a football ground, where we are sheltered a bit too by a big grandstand here at Seaford Oval. So we may see the ball bobble around a little bit at altitude, but otherwise it should be a good day at ground level for both these sides. The field fairly firm underfoot. It's had a week or 2 off as well from being played on, so it's in pretty good condition. We've seen a couple of curtain raiser games here where there's a couple of spots where it's been chopped up a little bit. But we're just about set for this afternoon. Let's have a look at these lineups, Sonny.
Yeah, we'll go through the Bushies first, and there are a couple of changes from the side that went down last week. We've got Matthew Gruber lining up the fullback. Robert Sheffield comes into the side for Michael Brophy. David Faiti and Francis David Totu starting the centres. Tui Kakau on the other wing. Jack Heyman comes into 5'8". Liam Oakley moves back to his preferred lock position, and Mick Picker is at half-back. Up front, you've got Daniel Hickson, Joshua Mitchell, and Tua Talanoa Venisi up front. Jordan Martin, Jamal Nachuki comes into the starting lineup for Atu Tupo, and Liam Oakley at lock. And on the bench, you've got Jaden Pollard, Matthew Dragosic, Atu Tupo, and Fabian Antonio.
There's a really interesting bench for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, and I reckon as those bench players come in, it'll change the complexion of this Tuggeranong Bushrangers side considerably. So the West Belconnen Warriors coach Troy Thompson will have his work cut out for him this afternoon. As you can see, West Belconnen out there on the park, so let's go through them. Their fullback Ryan McQueen in the 1 jersey. On the wings, it's Duffy in 2, Aroha Tunavai in 5. The centres, Matthew Campbell and Riley Thomas. The 5'8" is Harry Brown. Lachlan Keeley at half-back. Fraser Harvey is one of the front rowers. Joe Roberts the hooker, and Bailey Lockhead the other front rower in 10. Dustin Litster in 11. Taniela Moa in 12, and the lock at the back of the scrum is Matt Kelly in number 13. On the bench, it's number 14, Jacob Graham, little pocket rocket. The number 16 jersey will be occupied by Tim Middleton this afternoon, and then we jump up into the 20 and 22, with number 20 is Dan Killick-Moran and 22 is Mitch Shaw, as the Tuggeranong Bushrangers make their way out onto Seaford Oval this afternoon, led out by Josh Mitchell. And how exciting for this Tuggeranong Bushrangers side. They've never made it to a grand final under the Bushrangers moniker. They've got a big chance to do that this afternoon.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, big opportunity for them to go through to next week. And, you know, there's a lot to improve on from last week. They started off so well. For the first half an hour, they looked like they were going to run away with it. They got out to 16-0 against the Rams and then were just run down. And it's been a little bit of a worrying trend for them over the last couple of weeks where they haven't been able to chase down when they've been behind. So definitely looking for a strong start here today against what is a very, very patient opposition here in the Warriors. You know, last week they didn't panic. They were very composed when they went behind against the Roos, and at the end of the day, they came over the top of them.
Referee for this afternoon is Oliver Levito. We had a very quick chat with him earlier today. He's excited about this one too, so I think everyone is. We've got a terrific crowd in attendance here at Seaford Oval, not just in the cars on the far side, but you can see how good the conditions are by the number of people who've decided to decamp from their vehicles, and they've plonked out there with the picnic rugs. But the grandstand probably about half full here this afternoon as well. It is a cracking day for football, and wherever you may be watching, thank you for joining us on Bar TV, and thanks to our friends at Bloomers Lawyers as the game gets underway. And it is, well, making a bit of a shaky start to their first possession, the West Belconnen Warriors. Fraser Harvey allows the ball to bounce in front of him, but he retrieves it and gets out to the 10. And already we're seeing this game is going to be played at a frenetic pace. That would have been Jackson Duffy on the next set for them, taking him outside the 20. So they're working it very, very quickly. We do have the referee's mic for sound this afternoon, so you'll hear that through the course of the day. A couple of players in headgear for the West Belconnen Warriors. Well, Harry Brown's the easy one to pick. He's in the white headgear, and that was Matt Kelly in the dark headgear in the previous run-up as well. They get to their 40 on the first set, and they'll kick with Brown. Goes just inside the 40, outside the 40. They've run it instead. That's clever play. They weren't expecting that, the Bushrangers. Duffy now with a kick down towards the fullback, and it's picked up by the Bushrangers. So they tried something different right out of the box there, West Belconnen, and sometimes you've got to do that early in a game, Sonny Singh.
Enterprising start. And interesting to note that last week, 3 of their 4 tries that were scored were actually by running the ball on last tackle. So it's not an unusual phenomenon for them. And, yeah, a very enterprising start for the Warriors.
Indeed it was. We saw Livanai Tuakakau on the run for the Bushrangers there in the number 5 jersey. Now in the headgear, that's Francis Totu. And there's a little loss in there. Incorrect play of the ball. So it'll be a ball for the West Belconnen Warriors, and they'll really get the first chance to go deep into opposition territory now.
Just one of those 50-50 calls that on your good day you have them go your way and you get the penalty. On that occasion it goes against him, the referee deeming that tried to get up too quickly and just lost control, and the Warriors will get first chance at the Bushies line here.
Well, it's one thing to play at speed, it's another thing to play a little recklessly at speed. And it'll be, as you said there, the Warriors taking the ball forward. Now Dustin Litzter in the 11 jersey, but didn't back down in the scrum, takes it now 12 metres into Bushrangers territory. Waiting for it for his first run this afternoon is Bailey Lockhead. He just goes head down, tail up, and burrows into the opposition line. They work it across to the right. McQueen in there as well. Interesting, Ryan McQueen. We saw him in the warm-up earlier today, not wearing the team jersey, wearing a warm-up jersey out there. It is one of his little traditions that he never wears his game day jersey until the game actually starts.
Well, if he can attribute that to his good form over the last couple of months, then by all means keep doing it.
Well, they'll have one good game because after they've done something different, and they'll keep doing it for the rest of their careers. Matt Kelly takes the ball to within 5 of the line now. Little run around play, trying to charge through the line is Lockhead. Which way do they go? Across to the right. Hold it up for just a second. Brown pops the ball back on the inside. It comes free. Goes to ground. We've got a whistle. And that'll be called a knock-on. So the first real attacking motion in this game comes to naught, and we have no score on the board. About 3 minutes gone in the Ospreakers International Canberra Raiders Cup preliminary final for 2018.
I think we're in for some great battles out there today. I'm really looking forward to the challenge between Jamal Nachuki and Dustin Litzter. I think last week we saw Litzter targeted by Josh Ayres a couple times, and Ayres snuck his nose through a couple times. So interesting to see if Tuggeranong target that at all today.
Indeed, that was Tuakakau going for a bit of a run through the middle of the park. Getting out to the 20. Just before the Bushies get up to halfway here, just trying to pick a form line between these two sides, it's mission impossible, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, if you look at the results from earlier in this season, Tuggeranong took out West Belconnen, as we see another error here, so they'll be under even more pressure. But as I was mentioning, Tuggeranong, they took out West Belconnen away from home, and then West Belconnen took out Tuggeranong at home. So, we're playing at a neutral ground today, so it's tough to pick a winner.
It means precisely nothing. In other words, the form between these two sides. I remember I called that game back in... It was round 5 at Greenway, 26-18 the score. You'd think from that it was a fairly free-flowing attacking game. You look at that at the scoreboard at the end of the day, wouldn't you? 26-18?
Yeah, absolutely. And just on a side note, Chris, sorry to interrupt it, Josh Mitchell has just gone up the tunnel, so interesting to see if he's just gone off just to fix something up quickly, or see if he comes back. We'll keep an eye on that, though.
We'll keep an eye on it, and I'll come back to that round 5 game in just a moment, as we have now West Belconnen on the attack again. They've lost the ball. I think that's gone backwards. Touch judges indicated that. So it's play on. Aroha Tunavai sends it across to Keeley. Keeley holds. He did have Kelly charging, but decided instead to hold on to it himself. We're about 15 out now. Lockhead takes it to the 10. They can go left or right. I reckon it'll be right, just going from the way Roberts looked. No, he's gone the other way instead. He's fooled us all. Keeley, well, he's fooled everyone as well. He's thrown the ball behind him. Ryan McQueen puts a hand on it, and there's a little bit of a knock-on in there, and that will be a Tuggeranong Bushrangers ball. So let's come back to this round 5 affair between these sides. 26-18. It was played at Greenway. It was a pretty cold day from memory. It was also, and I can say this, I think without fear of contradiction, it was about the least inspiring game of rugby league for the first 60 minutes that I've sat through in a very long time. West Belconnen, I don't think, completed a set in the first half, and indeed possibly for 10 minutes in the second half before they actually completed a set. And I spoke to both coaches after the game, and neither of them had a great deal of, or indeed anything positive to say. You know the old thing about your mother, you'd say, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all? There was a lot of not saying anything after these sides met back in round 5. So I think today we are up for the complete opposite of that game, with everything on the line, as we see now. Josh Mitchell returning to the field. He's got more strapping on him than the mummy. His left arm has plenty of it on there, and he'll be making his way back out onto the field shortly. They work it across to the right now, the Bushrangers, and there in the headband is Dan Hickson, 10 short of halfway. So they're not making ground terribly quickly. Good ball around the outside to Tuakakau. He's a man who can make ground easily if you leave him on his own. They've done that. He pops it back inside. May have been forward. Gruber gets it, and it is forward. It's been called there. It did look flat from where we're sitting. We are at a fairly low level in the grandstand here, Sonny, but I think a correct call from the touch judge to the referee.
I tend to agree with you there. Yeah, no, the touch judge called it pretty much straight away, but enterprising play nonetheless from Tuggeranong, finding some space out wide.
We've got 2 players out there in headbands for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. You've got Dan Hickson, and you've got Adu Tupu as well in headbands, and then you've got Josh Mitchell with the strapping all over his arms. So, gee, you'd like to have that strapping contact for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. You'd make plenty out of it. But now it's the turn of the West Belconnen Warriors to bring the ball out. Tuggeranong side was up very quickly in the defence and almost paid dividends for them, but West Belconnen able to just steal another couple of metres from dummy half, as we then saw Roberts and Litster combine to get them out towards the 40. I don't think we'll see any 40-20 kicks today. The conditions not really conducive to it. It was Brown and Kelly. Takes 2 or 3 to bring Kelly to ground. Now to the left, the kick from just outside the 40 from Keeley. It's a low trajectory kick. It dribbles and dribbles, and it finally rolls over the sideline in front of Livanai Tuakakau. And we'll see the Bushrangers. Well, we'll see the Bushrangers get to feed the scrum. I was going to say we'll see the Bushrangers get the ball, but we saw and I'm trying to remember I still can't remember the last time I saw it. It's only yesterday in the NRL at GIO Stadium. We saw a scrum win against the feed. How good was that?
It was good if you're a Rabbitohs fan, not so much as a Raiders fan. Just when you think you've had all senses of frustration you can throughout the season, and then we managed to pull off just another impossible. We almost see a scrum against the feed here as well.
So you haven't seen it in years, and suddenly you'd see 2 in as many days. That would be something very, very odd. Bushrangers bring it out now. There's Jack Heyman. We haven't seen a lot from Heyman so far in this game, but he had plenty of options on his outside. Just went for the first of them. Gruber could have been the beneficiary there, but they elected to go in a different direction. Now that's Venisi. Talanoa Venisi, or Tua Venisi, or just Venisi if you like. And now it's Tupou. Tupou gets over the 40. So Tuggeranong, other than the line break that was stymied by a forward pass before, this is really their first opportunity to attack. Far Ete in the black headgear.
Looks like Oakley's moved to dummy half while Mitchell's off the field as well, Chris.
So they've had to rearrange a little bit. We still haven't seen Mitchell return to the field. He is down there on the bench, we can tell you that, and seem to be moving fairly freely. Kick through from Picker, probably a little bit too much altitude on it. Taken back into the in goal by Jackson Duffy, though. Had a little bit of a meal out of that, the Warriors. It was one of those ones that really the kick from Picker could have gone straight to Duffy, and he could have just turned and ran straight away, but he had to just hold back for a moment. So one of those kicks that in the end looked a little bit better than perhaps, looked a little bit worse than it was.
Took a wicked bounce for Duffy, but it's hard to believe that we're 10 minutes into the game and that's the first completed set that Tuggeranong have put together.
Now I'm looking down at the bench for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers and I'm seeing 14, 19, 17 and 18, which will be interesting because 17 was Ben Nanessa and 19 was Twifa Lasai, and neither of those were down to play today, so maybe they're just down there to warm up in numbers and provide moral support. We'll get to that later. Dan Hickson goes for a short run just outside the 20. You can hear Oliver Levito keeping the West Belconnen side back on side. Now they're only a couple of metres out, the Bushrangers.
Got a couple players down in back play as well, just trying to work out who it is.
Trying to burrow over from close. Last tackle and just short of the line. Do they try the brute force or do they try the long ball? Well, they come back and find Picker. Picker now goes airborne. We've seen this man already provide some excitement today in Tuakaka, but he'd come too far inboard. Ball goes over the sideline. And it'll come back for a West Belconnen possession. Not the best of finishes there from the Bushrangers.
Bit of an anticlimax, that set. Nick Picker, he had his starring moments at times last week, and if there's been one criticism of him recently in the last couple of weeks is he's drifted in and out of games a little bit, but had scored a try last week and ran the ball a little bit more, kicked a 40-20. Be looking for him to step up again in this half.
Tuggeranong Bushrangers backing the scrum with a fullback, Matthew Gruber, hanging off the back of it in the lock position. Scrums in the modern game of rugby league are a very, very confusing beast, aren't they? But, the scrum won by the West Belconnen Warriors, and that was Litster again, taking them to the 30. So these sides really just working very hard at each other, largely in the middle of the park at the moment. That's Riley Thomas. Lockhead again, one of the easiest players to pick on this field, and he gets a lot of the ball too. Kick from the hooker in Roberts, taken on the first bounce by Matthew Gruber. He works to the far side of Seaford Oval. Now this will give the Bushrangers some good field position. A few players a little bit slow to get back on side. Jamal Nachuki, one of them, but I suspect he might get involved on the next play. Standing back, which way do they go? If they go left, it'll be Nachuki. If they come to the right, I reckon it'll be Tupou who gets the ball. Which way do they go? They go to the right, and it's not Tupou, it's Hickson instead. The two of them standing side by side in the headgear. Hearing some of the player conversation leaking through on that referee mic. I'm not sure how much you're picking up that, but someone saying, you've got Picker. So they've obviously decided that Mick Picker's the danger man, the West Belconnen Warriors. Working it around to the left, the little chip kick comes through. Now Riley McQueen, this time he can just shepherd the ball. And he has to give it just a helping hand in the end, so we'll come back for a goal line dropout. And the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, they need to start getting a reward for all this possession. They've had 5 of the last 6 sets, I'd reckon. That's
right, and I think, in all honesty, that they've probably settled into this game a little bit quicker than the Warriors have. I think it's got a definite finals feel about it, this match so far, and both sides just a little bit tentative to do anything too extravagant, but Tuggeranong starting to settle a little bit more in. They've forced a couple of repeat sets, and as you mentioned, this is an important set here now that they need to come away with some points sooner rather than later.
They do. They're a side that, as we've seen, once they settle in, they really can play well. But when they get rattled, another side tries a few different things against them. That's Venisi. Sides try different things against them. They can be a little bit set in their ways, if you get what I mean. Atu Tupo now makes more metres after contact. This really is a big opportunity. They're only on the second tackle and they're 10 metres out. Scurrying from dummy half is Oakley. Now he's only a metre out. He's got Tupu at dummy half. Pops it out the back. Through the hands, I reckon that's Venisi again. It's very quickly onto him. No, it wasn't. It was Nachuki. Now it's the last tackle. Wait for it. They'll come across with the kick. And it's been knocked on in there by Matthew Kelly. That's unfortunate for the West Belconnen Warriors, but Tuggeranong, well, they'll get another set, but it can have an effect on a player, on players when they get repeated sets and they don't get any reward for it, Sonny.
Well, how often do you see it when one side has had all the possession on the goal line and then don't come up with points, and then the other side goes down the other end and scores straight away? It's a funny thing, confidence. But again, sustained pressure here from the Bushies. This takes a lot of fuel out of the tank as well when you're defending set after set on your line.
Qantas plane flying straight over the top of the ground as the buffet is down 10 metres in. I wonder how many people will take a sticky beak out and see if they can work out what the score is here. Nothing at the moment. That's Fayette Ete. He's 3 metres out. Players going at speed, going a full 360 is Oakley, and in the end has nobody to pass it to. Poor communication from the Bushrangers. Oakley has to go himself. Flat pass to Picker. Picker just short of the line. He's got Totu on his outside. They'll go back on the inside though. They give it to Fayette Ete. I reckon he got over the line and pushed back into the field of play. 5 and last, says the referee. Mitchell back in the field now, gives it across to Picker. Picker, after a few low kicks, goes for a high ball. It's been lost, it goes to ground, and we'll come back to the 20-metre mark for a 7-tackle set for West Belconnen, and really a wasted opportunity for the Bushrangers.
Well, what's the old saying, Chris? Attack wins you matches, defence wins you premierships. Because over the last couple of weeks, the West Belconnen Warriors, as we see an error here.
Oh, jeez, that was Matthew Campbell, I think, who had it there. It was. He had it. He lost it. Spent all the money on the lollies before he'd been given it from mum and dad.
I just wanted to wrap the Warriors there for their goal line defence again, because it's just been phenomenal over the last couple of weeks. They turned the best attacking side in the league, the Roos, away time and time again last week, and again just there we saw Fayette Ete almost go over, but tremendous goal line defence once again from this side. But they're going to have to do more of it.
We get time off called.
In last week's
shoelace break. Did you hear that?
A shoelace break.
It's something I've not heard before.
A scrum against the feed and a shoelace break. We've seen everything this weekend. They put themselves under more pressure here, and I mean, they'll back themselves in with their goal line defence. They had to defend 11 extra sets last week against the Roos.
That many? That's plenty. Oh, look at the speed. That was a really nice ball from Heyman. I don't know if he picked that there. He just held it up for just a second.
He's looked sharp in that 5/8 position.
He has. That's Venisi. Like the look of him so far today. He's got Tupo on this side, but again, they don't go that way. They go to the far side.
Mitchell has come back on as well. Back in at dummy half.
Only a metre out now, the Bushrangers. We've said that several times. Oh, that's possibly the worst ball from dummy half we've seen all season. Gruber picks it up outside the 20. It was a 19-metre pass to the invisible man. And they've done well to just hang on to the pill there in the end, the Bushrangers. Not sure what the idea behind it was. They're going to have to work it all the way across the park here, you'd think, to score. It goes from Picker to Heyman. Heyman loses the ball and it's been picked up by Harry Brown, so another turnover. And I just have that feeling, Sonny, that they may be about to pay a very hefty price for it, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, as once again, working it out from their own end of the ground, come the West Belconnen Warriors. If they can hang on to the pill for a few, they might just get a reward here, because they haven't had much of a chance with it. That was Riley Thomas. Now it's Lockhead. He's been quiet for the past few minutes.
That was a very un-Tuggeranong-like end to the set. You know, if there's one thing they're heads and shoulders above a lot of the other teams in the league is their structure. You know, I've been critical in the past of their creativity when they get inside the 20, but each player has always known what their role is and where to be at the right times. But on that occasion, and a few times today, it's broken down.
It has. So Matthew Gruber's taken the ball on the kick, and he's about 19 out from his own line.
How much of it has to do with the fact that it's a finals game? I know every player will tell you it's just another game of football, but...
Oh no, finals are never just another game of football. You can say it all you like, but in the end, there is always in the back of your mind the knowledge that, well, for the losing side in this game, there is no tomorrow. Mad Monday will beckon. That's probably why there is no tomorrow, because not a lot of Mad Monday often gets remembered. Venisi now on the charge, makes it 10 metres into West Belconnen territory. And the Bushrangers are on the last, so they give it to Picker for the kick. Hangs in the air a long time. Well taken by McQueen. Looks initially to go to the right, then comes back to the left and thinks, best place for me to go is straight up the middle of the park. And in doing so, he gets to the 20. Duffy in at dummy half goes for a run now. They get another 5, make it 8, make it 9 metres as he pushes forward in the tackle here. They're very bunched, West Belconnen, at the moment. And not a lot of structure either. We've had Jackson Duffy and Riley Thomas in at dummy half. I'm just going to see where Joe Roberts is at the moment. It's the first call of offside from the crowd just behind us. Riley Thomas with another run. Now they're into opposition territory. Mitchell Shaw for his first go of the day, and he got his second go of the day. Pops it out the back door, finds Aroha Tunavai. He has Taniela Moa on his outside, but he can't do anything other than go into the tackle, so it's the last. They run it now. There's Roberts. Roberts finds Keeley. Keeley puts the ball through, and it's picked up off the ground by Gruber on the fly. And it comes to naught for West Belconnen.
Better set from the Warriors. I mean, it's the first time they've really been anywhere close to this end in a very long time. So Tuggeranong aren't giving them any piggybacks out of their own end, and they're really having to work hard for any sort of possession inside the Bushies half.
20 minutes gone, no score here. Wasn't predicting that. And don't get me wrong, I think this has been an immensely entertaining game so far. That's Robert Sheffield. Have I called Sheffield so far today?
I don't think so.
I reckon that's his first touch of the ball today. Maybe he's had a couple when we've been chatting about other things, but he got it up to about the 40. That was potential 40-20, I think.
It is a 40-20.
Well, there you go. I said 10 minutes ago we wouldn't see a 40-20 today because the conditions were conducive to it. I didn't think about kicking early in the count when there was nobody back.
That's a great kick from Josh.
Very
Josh
clever.
Mitchell.
Very, very clever kick.
And you see what he brings to this side. You know, he was off for the first 10-15 minutes and comes back on and produces a big play like that. Could be what they need to break open this game.
Fabian Antonio, he's a man who's scored 3 tries. He's been a bit of a bench specialist for them in recent weeks. Now to the right to Tupou. Tupou's pushed back a couple of metres, pushed back another couple indeed in the initial impact. Mitchell at dummy half. Now it's with Picker. Picker has plenty of options on his outside, but none of them are going to be able to get through. Mitchell really running from side to side, and a pretty ordinary pass. May have got a knockdown in there as well, but it's gone to the West Belconnen Warriors. And gee, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, their coach Justin Giddo, I can imagine, would be painting the walls blue down there at the moment in their dugout just in front of us. Again,
just very uncharacteristic of this side. The opportunity's there, and whether it's a bit of miscommunication between Mitchell and his forwards, not entirely sure. What I do want to see more of is them hitting Nachuki with that short ball, though. I think there's plenty of opportunity there, and as I mentioned, as we see that McQueen put the ball down this time.
And they've taken it straight away, have the Bushrangers. It's being picked up by Faete. He gets them within the 20-metre mark. Someone's lost a boot. So there's one player out there in one high-vis yellow boot, and that would be Aroha Tunavai. He's going to go and chase his boot. I think right now he'd be better off standing in the defensive line, but we've got a high shot. So a penalty. Now here's the interesting question. A penalty, 10 metres out, 23 gone, no score in a knockout game. Do you take the 2? They do take the 2. In some ways that's a little bit of a disappointing end for this attacking run. But I think I can understand that because Tuggeranong, they've been unable to find a way through the line, so they may as well go over the top and get the first points for the game.
It's a sign of respect for the Warriors to goal line defence, I think. They've thrown plenty at them and just haven't been able to. I mean, they haven't looked close to scoring.
No, not really. Not really. So Mitchell will take the crack. 64 goals for him so far this season. They don't tend to come much easier than this. Could have sneezed and put that over, really. He's taken care of it, has Josh Mitchell, and we finally have our first points for the day. It's taken us 24 minutes to get there, but a penalty goal to Josh Mitchell gets us underway, 2-0. So 15 and a half to half-time.
Couple of nervous boys out there, I think. Preliminary final football. Just haven't quite hit their groove as of yet, either side, really. But the Warriors doing themselves no favours. I think they've had 5 errors already in this half. They're completing it just over 50%, but as I mentioned, their goal line defence is still held firm. They haven't really given themselves any opportunity to counter-attack and really get any sort of possession inside the Bushies half.
It's taken a long time to get the tee out there for McQueen to restart things. Clock's still ticking, by the way. So we have 15 till the break now as play restarts. McQueen goes long, goes to the far corner. Now that'll be Antonio on the fly in there. He really is a player that I've enjoyed watching, seeing him a couple of times during the course of this season. Now Sheffield. Now they come to Adu Tupou. Tupou tries to fend out of the tackle. It was Moa and Keeley who had him wrapped up. Now Oakley, 10 short of halfway. Antonio again. One of the easiest men in the entire competition to pick, by the way, with a very distinctive hairstyle and bright red boots. Easy man to pick up in a crowd. Now the kick comes through from Jack Heyman. Bounces a couple of times. McQueen gets to it. Takes it inside the 20. Runs along the 20-metre line. Tries to spin around the tackling attempt from Oakley. Now Oakley's just gone down there. Just keep an eye on him, Sonny, for a second if you can. As we see, he's taking forever to get up. May have got a bump to the head there. Roberts takes the ball over halfway. Get the update when the next break in play comes, Sonny Singh. Dustin Lidster now takes the West Belconnen Warriors over the 40. Is he up yet?
He's not. He's still down. The trainer's with him, though.
Not good. Mitch Shaw. So it's 13 on 12 for in favouring the West Belconnen Warriors at the 30. 5 and last.
He's just making his way back now.
Keeley chips over the defensive line, but it's taken at full speed by Matthew Gruber, and he's wrapped up about 18 out from his own line. So Oakley, well, he doesn't appear to be moving with any great difficulty, so maybe just a stunner as opposed to a head knock. That's Tuakakau. Going across to the right, Sheffield again. Sheffield just picked up a little bit in the tackle there. And Jacob Graham in for his first involvement in the play today as well in number 14. Again, one of the players I've really enjoyed watching during the course of this 2018 Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup competition. Now, kick from inside the 40 again, nowhere near as good as the last 40-20 attempt. In fact, I don't even think that was a 40-20 attempt. It was just to make Tavita Aroa Tuinavai run around a little bit, and run around he does. Picks it up inside the 30, straightens in the middle of the park, and is brought to ground.
Just going about their business, the Bushies. Not trying anything too flash, just one off the ruck hit-ups and getting away an early kick there, just playing field position at the moment.
See how it continues to work for them. They lead 2-0 in 12 minutes till the break. Thought the Warriors may have been shaping to kick for a moment there. Dan Killick-Moran's out there now. You can see him in the 20 jersey on this side. Graham finds Lockhead. Lockhead had the one of the hyphenated surname players in Killick Moran on his outside. Now Graham goes for a little run for himself. He's put the kick through and he's been absolutely flattened after the kick. Now, I don't think there was anything untoward in that. He put the kick through and just ran straight into the man in front of him, who really couldn't disappear. So, for mine, no real problem.
Well, the touch judge had a look at it. The referee had a look at it. They all deemed it to be okay. So, we come back to the 20 for a 7-tackle restart, and a little bit disappointing in the end. Their first real attacking foray for quite some time.
We've got Matthew Dragosic out there as well now for the Bushrangers in jersey 15, and there he is. He gets the ball. His first touch for today. You can always tell the fresh man when he comes out there for his first run, because it takes 2 or 3 guys to bring him down, because he's got just that little bit more energy. Mick Picker on the runaround play gives it to one of his teammates in the headband. That was Venisi, I think. And then Mitchell goes for a bit more of a run. Actually Tupou in the headband. Now Totu's left it behind, has rolled forward and been picked up by the West Belconnen side, and they've managed to steal a metre there, so that's enough advantage for them to call play on.
Yeah, it was a strange kick, that one.
Odd.
Just a little grubber just inside the opposition half, not the play.
Almost looked more like a knock on than a kick, really. Mitch Shaw. He's 10 into opposition territory. Graham looked as though he was distracted on that little play of the ball there. He left it very late to pick the ball up. Lockhead he's taken around the neck. Nothing sinister about it, just the way the tackle unfolded, but it is a penalty. They take the tap and they go. Graham gives it to Lockhead. Lockhead plays the ball on the 20. Now it's Dan Killick Moran. Dan Killick Moran just straightens and goes, and we've got a whistle. Got to get back. Got to get back. Okay, this is danger signs for the Bushrangers now. They give it to Mitch Shaw, but the referee says, well, hang on. We're not ready. Let's have another crack at this. So they'll play it from the 10. So who gets the running duty this time? Well, it's that man again, Bailey Lockhead. He just charges straight to the line. He's only a metre out. Get ready for the big men from West Belconnen to make the difference. They give it to Keeley, pots it back around, finds Shaw. Shaw, 5 short of the line. It's not Shaw, it's the other one. It's Killick Moran. There's 2 big fellas out there. That's Shaw. He's easy to pick because he's got a heap of strapping on his left leg. Now it's been picked up off the ground by Harry Brown. Brown tries to go under the defence. Can't do so. He's brought down 2 metres out. They work it across to the right through McQueen. McQueen with a kick through. Oh, it's been fumbled. Fumble-a-thon. That has been knocked on both ways, and I think we'll come back to the 20. I think we'll come back to the 20 for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. We will.
That's right. We got a knock-on in goal here from the Warriors, but sharp little kick there from McQueen, and just unlucky that they couldn't regather and score.
I think a little bit unexpected, and as we saw a couple of weeks ago when it was Tuggeranong against Gungahlin, the Tuggeranong side, they do tend to struggle when sides go off book, when sides go a little bit unscripted in their attack.
Yeah, they did highlight that Ryan McQueen was, so we have an opportunity here, almost intercepted by
Tavita Aroa Twinavai. He's filthy with himself too. He knew he got hold of that, he was off to the races.
He read the play beautifully there, just unfortunate he didn't collect it. He catches that, they score the opening try here.
Can't believe we haven't had a try yet. What are we? 8.5 till half time. 2 points in the book. Faete now. Centre packing down in the second row. We've got Josh Mitchell, who's the hooker, packing down at lock. And Mick Picker, the halfback, feeds the ball into the scrum. Well, nice to see some things are reliable. The ball's come free in there, I think. It has, and it's been picked up by West Belconnen, and Riley Thomas goes a few metres. Now we get a stoppage in play. Oh, that's why the ball's come free. That's why the ball's come free. Just trying to work out who that is who's down. Is it Gruber?
It is Gruber.
The way he was lying on the turf there, I think that was a momentary loss of consciousness. I really do think he was out for just a moment. This will stop play. 7:52 remaining till the half.
I think we had a similar moment last week for the Warriors in that Roos game, where we thought one of the players probably should have gone off for at least an HIA test. think it might have been Lachlan Keeley from memory.
Well, I can tell you, Matthew Gruber, the way he's walking there, he does not look a well boy at all at the moment, does he?
No, he's very slow to move back into position. The trainer's still with him.
Yeah, you West Belconnen, you know what you do here? You kick it straight at him. I know that's a horrible thing to say, but if he's not going to go off for a head injury assessment, then you kick it straight at him when the kick comes. That was Middleton in the 16 jersey for West Belconnen. Graham at dummy half, hangs on to it, now finds Lockhead. And Lockhead's 25 out there straight in front of the posts. Graham, geez, dangerous when he does this. 6 tries for the season. Oh, he's lifted up. He's lifted up. His legs go up in the air, and then when they go to put him down, they had him too high up, and his legs didn't reach the ground. And it's not a comment on his height. It's just a statement of fact as to what was happening out there. Graham again. Now to the left with Brown. Brown run around play to Lockhead. Lockhead still going. They're 8 short of the line. Last tackle, says the referee. They've got Shaw. They don't use him. It goes to Keeley. Keeley onto a speeding McQueen. McQueen, he was looking for Campbell but couldn't get the ball away. Does get the ball away. Campbell. Now he finds one of his forwards in Moa. Ball, I think, has gone to ground in there. They've messed it up again, the West Belconnen Warriors. Gee, other than the finishing, this game's been fabulous. The finishing from both sides has been awful, but between the 10-metre lines has been terrific.
Yeah, McQueen's starting to inject himself a little bit more into this game now. They're looking to get the ball to him on last tackle, and again on that play, they choose to run the ball on last tackle. It's not something they've been scared to do, and they continue to do it today.
Well, it worked for them last week. It's worked for them on a couple of occasions during the course of the season.
I've got to say, Jacob Graham's added something since coming off the bench.
Isn't he great to watch? He is great to watch. He was man of the match in at least one game earlier this season that we've called on Bar TV in the Canberra Raiders Cup, and I'm pretty sure that was a man of the match performance for coming off the bench as well. So
I do like the way they use Roberts and Graham together. You know, Roberts is more the controlling hooker. You know, get them through the first 20 minutes, and then there's a little bit of unpredictability about the way Graham plays the game.
Well, there's Gruber, man who we thought was knocked out a few minutes ago, but he's still out there. I tell you what, he's that run's taken a lot out of him. And it was only a 10-metre run. Oh, the kick's gone through, and Heyman's gone with the secondary kick. He's got a teammate in there. McQueen's picked it up, and he's gone back into the in-goal area and indeed slung around and goes into the dead ball part of the ground as well. But that came from absolutely nothing. It was a fairly innocuous sort of kick, but no one from West Belconnen could get to it. Heyman went with another kick. I think it was Nachuki in support with him to just confuse Ryan McQueen for a moment as to what he was doing with the ball. And now it'll be West Belconnen with the line dropout with 5 and a bit remaining. So Tuggeranong, well, they'll fancy their chances here. You've got to start thinking when this happens, you've got to start thinking, okay, eventually we've got to be able to score from this.
That's right. Yeah, it was a very smart kick, though. They saw the winger and the fullback very, very deep, and just a short kick in behind the line, and you know, the chasers knew what was on.
Gruber fielded the line dropout, and it was Fabian Antonio who was going at speed. Now at speed, it's Matt Dragicic, and they're 15 out, and that's the second tackle. Antonio this side, they go the other way, give it to the halfback in Picker. Picker now takes them inside 5, and about 10 in from touch. They're spread out right across Seaford Oval, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Who do they go for? I reckon it was that man, Antonio again. Coming across to Heyman. Still going is Heyman. Turns back on the inside over Graham. Graham did well. Slowed him down just enough for McQueen to get into the tackling play. Buries through from underneath, and it's one of the fellas in the headband for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers who's got it through from close range. There is a sense of inevitability about it. He points to the sky. And our first try for the afternoon goes into the books next to the name of Adu Tupou. 6-0, 3:45 to half-time. I said they're finishing. In fact, the finishing for both sides has left a little bit to be desired this afternoon, Sonny, but eventually, if you just keep chipping away and running it hard from 2 metres out, something's got to go your way. I think there may have been a West Belconnen hand in there as well to reset the tackle count as well. So West Belconnen were in a little bit of disarray but Tupou too hard to stop from close range.
Luck's a funny thing in football. I mean, last week, if you watched the Bushies semi-final against the Rams, you would almost go as far as saying that everything went against them in terms of luck. And on that occasion, grubber put through by Mitchell, ricochets a couple times and ends up in the hands of Tupou, and once you get him that close to the line, he's very hard to stop.
A fairly simple, close range try. I tell you, I'd not realised how hard it is to pick apart Adu Tupou and Dan Hickson when they're both going at close at full tilt in close range to the goal line. As the whistle sounds and we get the conversion from Josh Mitchell to make it 8-0 with 3 minutes till the break. Of course, I should have had a quick look down and would have noticed that Mitchell is actually off the field and on the bench at the moment. Not Mitchell. Hickson is off the field and on the bench at the moment, which would have made it a little bit easier. Question now is, can West Belconnen strike back? They've got 2.5 minutes to do so. McQueen going through his full routine for the restart. And he'll work it over to the sunny corner of Seaford Oval. And here he is again, Fabian Antonio. They just use him as a battering ram. But he's so hard to stop when he gets a chance to wind up, and on the restarts he really does get a chance to wind up. He lines up about 20 metres back and just powers up and hits the line very, very hard. Can they do it again? Can they do it from long range, the Bushrangers? They've certainly looked the better side, I think, this afternoon, mainly because they've just had so much more possession. I know you keep a rough track of the possession, Sonny, and we'll get you to go through some numbers yet, but I'd take a stab that it's probably about 65-35 would be in percentage terms, as we see the Bushrangers turn it over with a kick that goes out of bounds on the full, to use the Aussie rules terminology.
Well, this is a crucial set just before half-time here. If the Warriors can sneak something back just before half-time, they'll go in with their heads high, because they've had to do all the defending on their goal line and haven't had any sort of attacking opportunity against the Bushies on their own goal line.
That's for sure. So that's Lockhead. They're 40 out. Now to Shaw. And he makes another 10. Discipline needed in defence from the Bushrangers as Keeley goes for a run, turns it around to the outside, a juggle from Moa, back to Keeley again. Keeley now finds Middleton. Middleton 15 out there, directly in front of the posts. Graham at dummy half, longish ball to Shaw. He puts it further outside, finds Brown. Now Brown on to Thomas. Thomas, 10, 8, 5 from the line, 15 in from touch, far side of the ground, last tackle, little run from dummy half, little kick comes through, and it's knocked dead. There's 30 seconds remaining, so it'll be a line dropout, goal line dropout, that'll have to be taken by the Bushrangers. So they're obviously the ones who've helped it over the dead ball line, or to go dead in goal.
You've got 20 seconds to go here and no shot clock here at Seaford Oval.
There's absolutely no urgency from the Bushrangers to get the ball over to the middle. There's Joshua Mitchell, and he decides now, I don't like that ball, or I don't want to make the kick out. He's thrown it across to, well, a couple of his teammates, none of whom were interested in it, and you hear Oliver Levito says time off. So with 4 seconds left on the clock, it'll mean that West Belconnen, they're going to get, well, I was going to say they get one chance to score from it here, but they just let it roll and roll and roll, and Tim Middleton picks it up and in the end decides to kick the proverbial out of it and sends it off into the vacant spaces at the far end of Seaford Oval. An immensely entertaining half of football. I really enjoyed that. There was a lot going on. There was plenty of good footy between the 10-metre lines. There was some pretty ordinary stuff between the 10-metre lines and the try lines. But Sonny, seeing your thoughts on the first 40 here in the preliminary final.
I think it's just the finesse that's missing for both sides. I think in general the Bushies have dominated field position. They've definitely played a very simple structure, a very simple game plan, and just getting through their sets and keeping the ball down the other side of the field, and it's working to great effect. They haven't been able to convert a lot of their opportunities inside the 20, but, you know, at the end of the day, pressure will tell, and if they keep getting these opportunities inside the 20, they will put points on. For the Warriors, they're playing a very patient game, but they've got to start winning this field position battle, and they've got to start completing their sets. They've made a lot of errors in that first half. They made 7 errors in that first half and completed just 10 of 17.
I've just been watching the players coming up the tunnel directly in front of us. There's a few players out there, more in the West Belconnen jerseys than the Tuggeranong jerseys, who are really sucking in some big breaths on the way up the tunnel. And if the coach's demeanour is anything to go by, Justin Giddo, he had a smile on his face. It wasn't a big smile, but it was a smile. Troy Thompson had a little bit of a furrow on the brow in there, but it's only an 8-point ball game. And bear in mind, Tuggeranong, well, they coughed up a 16-point lead last week to go down by 8 in the end. So this game by no means done. We're in for a belter of a second half. It's not too far away. But right now, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, they lead the West Belconnen Warriors 8 points to nothing. It's a try to Atu Tupu, a penalty goal and a conversion to Josh Mitchell. But at the break here on Bar TV in Osbrokers International Canberra Raiders Cup preliminary final day, it's 8-0 to the Bushrangers. We'll be back with the second half very soon. 40 minutes of football remains, barring extra time, of course, and with it being a low-scoring game, let's not rule that out as a possibility just yet. But 40 minutes of regular time of football remains here at the Austbrokers International Canberra Raiders Cup competition for one of these sides. Will it be Tuggeranong? Will it be West Belconnen? We'll find out very, very soon. Sonny Singh, some of your stats from the first half, what do you reckon?
Yeah, so Tuggeranong completed 12 from 18 sets in that first half and gave away 3 penalties, whereas the West Belconnen Warriors completed 10 of their 17. They made 7 errors, though, and a lot of those from inside their own half. So big area for improvement for them in the second half.
I would suspect that the Warriors coach, Troy Thompson, not hugely disappointed in that first half. Just going by the fact that his players are out there back on the ground already, so he hasn't spent a heap of time peeling the paint off the walls in the dressing room. He's just said a few things and said, now get back out there and go and play footy. Meanwhile, we wait for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers to get back out there and restart play.
Well, it's not like this is unfamiliar territory for the Warriors. The last couple of weeks they've been behind against the Roos a couple times, and every time they've come back and bounced back. They're a side that takes full advantage of the opportunities that are presented to them. The thing that they've struggled with today is getting those opportunities because they keep dropping the ball inside their own half. So I think Troy Thompson's message to the boys would be very simple. Hold on to the ball, play field position, you'll get your opportunities, and that's where we'll strike.
What I am intrigued by as we wait for the Bushrangers to return to the field is I'm just having a look at who's out there for the Warriors, and you can see just on this side of halfway, Jacob Graham is still out there as in the number 14 jersey. So that is a little bit of a change. Someone's frustrated. Is that Ollie who's frustrated?
I think so. I think he's asking where the bushies are.
They come on, and here they come now, led out by Josh Mitchell. He had that unscheduled absence from the field for a considerable period in the first half. And Dragicic will be starting this second half on the bench, off the bench, on the field for them as well. Seeing who else is starting out there. We get to see Jaden Pollard. And there he is now, so it looks like he's going to be coming out. I don't recall calling Pollard in the first half. And I don't think we've seen him all season. I'm just trying to remember. Jaden Pollard, you may have the season stats more readily available. I just don't think he's played this season.
Well, I've got him down as 8 games, just the 1 try.
Jeez, okay.
He's played a couple.
It's a while, though. Having said that, we don't call every game here on Bar TV, and it may just be the luck of the draw that the games he played were not the games that we'd seen him play. Anyway, it's been quite some time since he's played. Let's see what the short kickoff can achieve. Well, it's grabbed at by Gruber. Sounds like a child's book, doesn't it? Grabbed at by Gruber. He takes it to the 20. The cloud's starting to make its way over. Off to the south and the southeast, we're aware of some thunderstorm activity into the Captain's Flat Braidwood area, but we may get away without it closing in on us this afternoon. I said before that Fabian Antonio had about the most distinctive hairstyle in the Canberra Raiders Cup competition. Well, Matt Dragicic isn't too different from him, by the way, and they're pretty hard to pick when they're going at full tilt. Antonio in 18 and Dragicic in 15.
David Faiti down at the moment.
Jeez, that's not good.
Yeah, I think he copped one just as he was falling here. There was a good low tackle, and as he was falling, I think he was just collected a little bit high.
Just trying to see. Yeah, well, he's chatting with the trainers. He's moving. That's the left leg they're checking. Or are they just straightening it out? I will say this, he does not look a happy camper, and that's never a good sign when you see the trainer do that with the hand up across the neck and say, moves it backwards and forwards. That's never a good sign. So Faete looks like he is done for the afternoon.
They've had to deal with a number of reshuffles over the past fortnight too as well, Tuggeranong, so this would be a big loss.
Well, he doesn't really seem that he can put any weight on that left leg. And that would not just rule. You would imagine it'd be very, very difficult for him to not just play any further part this afternoon, but that's probably his season done as well. Okay, and in the end, well, he's now trying to avoid putting the right leg down, and it was the left leg they were checking out before. Well, maybe it was the left leg that they were moving and the right leg they were trying not to move. That will mean another little bit of a shuffle around. I mean, they had to make a few changes, didn't they? They had Heyman in starting. They're missing Blake Murray. He's been out for a couple of weeks. Sheffield coming into the side. Michael Brophy, you mentioned, did the media commitments for the Bushrangers during the course of the week and wasn't chosen in the side.
Well, we got Vanisi that's come on in place of David Fa'atiiti, but can't imagine he'll be playing at centre.
No, I can't argue with your logic there. So there'll be a backline reshuffle. We'll try and work out who's where and who's who in the zoo shortly. But right now, they'll go for the kick from just outside the 40 from Picker. It's a fairly shortish kick and is allowed to bounce by Roha Tuanavai. He grabs it and makes it out to the 40. So West Belconnen, they'll want some points soon, just because you don't want to leave it all to the last minute or the last 5 minutes. Matthew Campbell is 5 short of the halfway line. What's Graham got as dummy half? Well, he's got Tim Middleton going at speed and gets him over the halfway line.
Just on those changes, it looks like we've got Pollard and I think it's Jordan Martin that's playing on this left edge now for Tuggeranong.
Well, that's certainly interesting. Pollard's on out on the wing and Martin's playing just inside him. That's on this side of the ground. The players on the other side of the park. The kick will come from Keeley. It gets through the defences fairly easy, but it's picked up by Gruber, and Gruber takes it to 10 or 11 metres out. He's certainly looking a lot better than he was in the late stages of the first half, Gruber. Now Tuakakau, the winger, comes up the middle of the park and takes a slightly high bump.
And he stayed down as well. Now he's just getting up.
I think he was just taking his time. The penalty had already been awarded, so...
He's got very nifty footwork. He almost scored a brilliant try last week. He's just managed to put a foot out last week against the Rams, but you get him one-on-one on that wing.
Hard to stop. 8 tries to him so far this season. He'll be looking to add to that tally here in the finals. Now we've got Antonio. 10 short of halfway. Sun breaks through again at Seaford Oval. Dragicic. His hair's not quite as bushy as Antonio's, but it's getting there, isn't it? Antonio's got more of the shaved area around the bottom. There's Dragicic again. So he's 30 out from the line, or 32 out. And now they come across to the left with Heyman. Heyman finds Nachuki. Nachuki hasn't had as much presence in the game today as perhaps we've seen from him in the past. And he's lost the ball and has been picked up off the turf by the Warriors. So West Belconnen, they get their chance to go on attack.
You mentioned Jamal Nachuki, and last week he was a real impact player for the Bushies. You know, some for the positive, some for the negative, but there was always something happen when he got the ball in hand.
Again, from memory, I just recall him a couple of times coming off the bench and being more of an impact player. So it needs must for the Bushrangers today, and as we mentioned, they've had a few injuries in their squad and a bit of a reshuffle going on. Now that is a Roha Tuanavai for the West Belconnen Warriors. They're 8 over the half now. Very slow play of the ball. Litster thought about passing to Thomas, elected not to, held on to it. That's the 30. You can see the signage just underneath the player's feet. Long ball back to Keeley, and Keeley goes skyward. From out of the shade goes the ball, into the sun. And Gruber takes it. Oh, and he gets through. He's over the 10, he's over the 20, he's over the 30. If he can get away from the tackle of Graham, he'll be off to the races, but he's not. He's brought down on the halfway line. They needed a fast play the ball there. Totu made it 5 into opposition territory. One quick play the ball there, and they really would have been almost doubling their lead. And they're working it around the park, the Bushrangers. Totu again. Now it's Vanisi. Vanisi 25 out. Little run from dummy half from Mitchell. But he's got a player offside. Tim Middleton, I think it was, he's called offside. So now Tuggeranong a chance to really start to turn the screws. Oh, they elect to take the 2. I don't know about that.
It's an interesting tactic.
8 to 10, an 8-point lead to a 10-point lead. Oh, gee.
Not a huge difference between the two.
Now, it's not as though the wind is blowing a gale here and conversions are going to be hard. Even tries to the sideline will be, in relative terms, easy to convert this afternoon. So, well, it is what it is.
Let's go back to the Gruber break, though. Fantastic take, firstly, from a tricky bomb that was put up.
I'm trying to work out where he got through there, too, because there was a wall there in front of him. A couple of his own players were in the way as well. But he found a gap and away he went.
Well, this is also a bloke we thought was on one leg at the back end of the first half. So did a tremendous job breaking through, and then it was a good cover tackle from Jacob Graham. He communicated well with Ryan McQueen to make sure that the 2-on-1 didn't eventuate. So we see Mitchell plot this one over and go out to a 10-0 lead. But it was good communication between Graham and McQueen, and yeah, it was an interesting decision there to take the 2 points and take it out to a 10-point lead.
Not as worrying a decision as the field goal that you often see kicked by a side leading just before half-time in a game, and somehow it switches that little psychological thing in their brain and says, oh no, we kick the field goal, we'll be right. And quite often they're then not right. But they now lead 10-0. There's 33 minutes to go. It's only 2 tries for West Belconnen. But having said that, really, the Warriors haven't really looked like scoring a try this afternoon yet. So maybe the Bushies saying, well, we'll just take the points when they come up. And if we can, well, we'll go further.
Didn't he come off the back fence that time?
That was very much off the long run. And again, now it's with Pollard. I haven't seen a lot of him this season. Already out to the 30. And this is tackle 3. That was Tupou, the man with the only try of the afternoon. Now a run from dummy half from Mitchell. Now they come back to Mitchell. Tupou again. Tupou makes it 10 metres. Into West Belconnen's half. Last tackle. Where do they go? They give it to Heyman. Heyman puts the kick through. Flying into the contest was Jackson Duffy. He's lost that ball forward in there, but Oliver Levito, he's calling it a knock-on. Has he called that a knock-on against Tuggeranong first?
He has, and I think it's Jamal Nachuki that's just down in back play with the trainer here. It's the second time we've seen a short little kick put in behind a defensive line, though, Chris. The wingers are standing quite deep on last tackle, and I think it's Jack Heyman again. That's the second time he's caught them out. They're a little bit fortunate there that the Bushies knock on first, and they'll get the ball back 20 metres out from their own line. But it's an interesting tactic from Heyman. It's the second time he's done it. We'll see if he pursues with it for the rest of the game.
A little bit of a blood nose there for Nachuki. Just gets a little bit of a wipe. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Nachuki who a few weeks back came on late as a sub and scored a hat-trick. I'm just going from memory. I may be completely wrong, but I think he scored 3 tries in next to no time late in the game, having started on the bench. Perfectly happy to be corrected on that, but it's just, maybe he's one of those players. You and I both watch a lot of baseball, and we know there are some pitchers who you can't rely on to start a game, but you can bring them in late in the game and they can be incredibly reliable, and same with some position players.
As I mentioned, he just makes an impact, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the not so good.
Well, right now it's West Belconnen who've got the ball, and they need to get some points because they're 10 down. They haven't really looked like scoring. 32 to go though, so a long way left in this one. Across to the right with Keeley. Now to the fullback McQueen. Now it's Brown. Brown taken over the shoulder on the tackle from behind. Brought to ground. They're still in their own half. Now McQueen again, and McQueen with the kick. Oh, look at this. At speed, it's Riley Thomas, but Thomas can't quite get to the ball first. McQueen got there, but Thomas was putting pressure on him. Now for the Bushrangers, it's Martin.
Just want to wrap Jordan Martin there because he makes a very, very important tackle on Harry Brown in the set before this. You know, if Harry Brown gets that ball away to his outside man, there's plenty of room there.
To Akaka now. 25 out from their own line. The Bushrangers. And now 35 out. Big push in that tackle from Litster and Dan Killick-Moran as they wrapped up the fullback in Gruber. So Gruber still doesn't look to be moving freely when he walks, but when he runs, he's looking great. So go figure. Kick comes from Picker downfield from Tuggeranong, allowed to bounce by Jackson Duffy, and that was possibly not the right call because Duffy then had to backtrack another 10 metres, tries to get around 1, 2, 3, 4 Tuggeranong Bushrangers players. Gives up a bit of a voluntary tackle on his own 20. Now the Warriors, through McQueen, still at their own 20, so not making ground at any great speed at the moment. That was Thomas. Now the ball comes out the back and it's to Joe Roberts, and Roberts, I don't know if he was fully expecting it. He sent a semi-awake to the possibility that the ball was coming to him because he put the hands out a little bit late and the ball went to ground, and Tuggeranong, they'll get to speed a scrum about 35 out from the line.
It's a very simple game plan from the Bushies today. It's all about field position. Just keep the Warriors down inside their own half. No piggybacks, no penalties. Just keep them down here, working it out from their own half.
How many penalties have the Bushrangers given away today?
They gave away 3 in the first half and haven't given any away in the second half.
Well, that's smart play. Just be disciplined. And as you said, there's nothing flash. There's nothing really extravagant about what they're doing. We're not seeing any long balls, any desperation passes. Atu Tupou. It's one of the longest balls we've seen, I reckon. There, it was only about a 10-metre pass. Now they drop it back on the inside.
Hasn't Totu found another gear in the last 10 minutes or so?
Yes. That's Dragicic. That's with Picker. Picker looks forward pass in there. He got it to a Venisi, but forward pass. So well, you give them a rap on their discipline and doing the simple things well, and then they do a simple thing very, very badly. That was a short pass and just held it up for a moment. Had to adjust as Venisi was coming through, and by the time the adjustment was made, it was too late in the pass. We ended up going forward. Now Aroha Tunavai, still going Aroha Tunavai. And he's 25 out, 10 in from touch. Far side of Seaford Oval.
Just hasn't clicked inside the 20 for either side today.
Really hasn't. Lockhead's back out there. So we'll wait and see what he's got. They don't give it to him just yet. I reckon that's Letster.
I think this right edge is going to see a lot of action over the next half hour, particularly with Heyman and it's Pollard, isn't it? Heyman and Pollard on this left edge for Tuggeranong.
I said to you, I don't think we were on here, I said it off here, I thought there's a lot of excitement potentially around the bench players for Tuggeranong, but I don't think Tuggeranong were quite expecting to have to use them exactly how it has worked out this afternoon. What have the Warriors got? Well, that's McQueen comes into dummy half, gives it to Brown. Brown with the kick over the top, and it's a pretty ineffective kick. It goes straight to Gruber, and Gruber goes to ground on the 10-metre line at his own end of the park. Now, Pollard picks it up and runs from dummy half, takes it outside the 10, out to the 25.
It's a great run.
That was a good run in congested parts of the field. Now to Akakau. Takes it outside the 30. As long as they hang on to the ball, it makes it very, very difficult for West Belconnen. They haven't coughed it up a lot, Tuggeranong, this afternoon, or at least not in critical field position. Going from dummy half is Mitchell, and Mitchell, well, he makes 12 or 15 metres. Some of the West Belconnen fans aren't terribly happy about the way that it's being called here at the moment. High ball over near the sideline is Duffy. He gets it. A long ball goes across to McQueen. Now McQueen's going across field. He's trying to get around the outside. He's put an offload and finds the chest of Tavita Aroha Tuanavai. It's the first real little bit of adventurous play we've seen from West Belconnen, so maybe they're just about to try and open things up and see what they can do. Taniela Moa now on the halfway line. They can play some exciting footy, this West Belconnen side. They've kept a lot of it in their back pocket at the moment, but I think maybe, just maybe, it's about to change. Again, Aroha Tunavai. 25 out. Goes one of the big men in Lockhead, and Lockhead takes another 10. Make it 12, make it 15. Oh, he just pushes and pushes in the tackle. Last tackle, they're inside the 10. Can they engineer a repeat set? Roberts goes from dummy half. Oh, he's cut down in his prime. Just short of the line. He caught almost everybody napping. Reckon it might have been Tupou in over the top with the late hit to bring him to ground, but wow, that was... Again, running it on the last. We've seen them do that a few times, this West Belconnen side, Sonny.
That was great football. They went 70 metres in that set, and And then Roberts picking it up out of dummy half. He saw a gap off the back of a quick play the ball, and just a great tackle, as you mentioned, from Tupou. Definitely a try saver.
Best set we've seen from West Belconnen today. They are a far better looking side when they actually decide to play some adventurous footy. We saw it last week against the Queanbeyan Kangaroos too, when they really decide to have a bit of adventure. But speaking of adventurous footy, oh boy, that was almost a runaway try for the Bushrangers. There's still a chance now as it comes to Pollard. Pollard to 40, makes it to the halfway line. He's picked up and dumped in the tackle in there. Middleton underneath. Over the top, it was Dustin Lidster, and that's got to be a penalty. It is a penalty, taking far too long to get off him. The Tuggeranong Bushrangers fans behind us in the grandstand calling for it as well. Had to be. Took far too long to get off the tackled player there.
It's an Achuki offload that sets the winger free on that occasion. And as we mentioned, we talk about impact, and he takes a chance from inside his own 20 to pop that ball. And off the back of it, they earn themselves a penalty and going to be on the attack once again.
Lidster with the tap. Lidster Martin with the tap, rather. Gives it across to Mitchell. There's Lidster coming up for the charge. 11 on 11 always confuses me. I start to go all binary. Mitchell again at dummy half. Finds Dragicic. Dragicic snap backwards in the tackle. About 15 out. Crucial time of the match here, you would imagine. The ball comes to Venisi. They're still outside the 10. Picker turns it around. Now he finds Nachuki. Nachuki out the back. No, he's held on to it. Some of the Tuggeranong players calling for a reset of the tackle count, so I wonder whether Nachuki did try to pass but never actually let go of it. Kick comes from Mitchell, but it's fielded well by one of the West Belconnen players in underneath the stack. Might have been Harvey in there who did it, but doesn't matter who it was. And now Tuggeranong not getting back the 10. So West Belconnen with Dustin Lidster brought to ground.
Didn't they need that?
Oh yeah, that's a real pressure relieving penalty. West Belconnen, they're just starting to look as though they're playing with a little bit more urgency. They might have been able to use some of this in the first half. They looked like they played that first half very much within themselves. Now it's Tavita Aroha Tunavai to the 40. And he's still pushing in the tackle. He's such a hard man to stop.
He's had some big runs in the last couple of sets to get them out of trouble and get their set started off as well.
Now Lidster, Dustin Lidster, over the halfway line. Brown, long ball, finds McQueen. McQueen probably should have passed. They had numbers on the other side. As he lost the ball, they have lost the ball in there. Stripped off him. He really should have passed it then instead of going into the tackle. Now the Bushrangers go forward through Tupou. He's been probably about the man of the match this afternoon, I think, for Tupou. Been involved in a lot of play. Now Totu. Oh, Totu just goes straight through the line without stopping. Gets past the secondary line, and now he's taken about 5 out.
We got somebody down next to it as well. It might be it's Lachlan Keeley, I think.
Well, that's not a good sign for West Belconnen. That was Dragicic for the Bushies. Now it's the 5'8" Heyman. He goes left, he goes right, he goes left, he goes right. It's almost as though he's on Dancing with the Stars. He's brought to the ground 5 metres out. They look for the field goal. That's the way it was set up for a moment there with Picker, but he puts the ball into the air. Oh, that's the try of the day. Absolutely flying through at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Livanai Tuakakau takes the ball, plants it down, and extends the lead to 14-0, and that may just be about enough this afternoon in this low-scoring affair. That's a belter, Sonny.
He came out of absolutely nowhere. For all the money, Tavita Aroa Tuinavai looked like he had it covered. He was unmoved, and then out of nowhere, Tui Kakau just plucked it from the sky, put his side in front, 14-0 now. That's a massive play.
I want to know how far a run-up he had on that. We've seen it a couple of times from Fabian Antonio on the restarts for the Bushrangers, where the ball has been put to him after he's been coming in from 20 metres back and getting up to speed. I want to know how far back Tuakakau ran from there, because he was going absolutely full tilt. Forget Usain Bolt for the Central Coast Mariners in the A-League. You want fast-flowing football? I'll get Livanai Tuakakau onto the case.
It all comes back to the one-on-one strip in the middle of the field, just after the Warriors had earned themselves a penalty, and you thought they were going to get out of trouble, and how quickly it can turn. Suddenly 10 becomes 14 and 2 tries becomes 3. And with 20 minutes to play, at what point do you start pushing the panic button?
Well, I reckon the next 5 minutes could be very, very exciting. Because West Belconnen, it's not just a case of playing like there's no tomorrow. It's playing because there is no tomorrow. They're going to throw everything at Tuggeranong for the next few minutes. And just cast your mind back, Sonny. It was only 3 or 4 weeks ago we saw Tuggeranong against Gungahlin, and Gungahlin threw everything at him. They threw the set plays out the window. They threw the ball around with abandon, and Tuggeranong did not know how to defend against it. Conversion successful, 16-0, with exactly 20 minutes remaining. So Tuggeranong, we've said we've got questions over them against adventurous football. We haven't seen a lot of adventurous football from West Belconnen. In fact, I think we've only seen one really adventurous set. And remember, that was a set where they went 70 metres in about 25 seconds.
I think we're going to see more and more of it, but I guess that's a double-edged sword, though. You want to throw the ball around, you risk making more errors, but it's going to be a very entertaining last 20 minutes.
It's going to be great to watch. Tuakaka, the try scorer, gets the ball. And funnily enough, there's about 3 or 4 West Belconnen players already lined up to tackle him and make sure that he can't inflict any further damage. So the Bushrangers, they work it out from their own end of the ground again, the southern end of the stadium, if you like. Now running onto it is Tupou. He's not the only try scorer for the game this afternoon now, but probably still my man of the match at this stage anyway. Now Dragicic, 15 short of halfway. I think they'll go right this time, and well, they don't go right, they go for the kick. The kick goes straight to Aroha Tunavai. He's got time to wind up and go. Takes a couple of trotting steps infield and then over the 20. And look at this, he's still going in the tackle and now is being pushed forward in the tackle. Finally held. It was almost like a rugby union maul, but it was only 1 man attacking and 4 men in defence. Now they give it to Lockhead. He's going at speed. 5 metres into opposition territory. Where do they go? They kick early in the count because there's nobody back. Pollard changes his direction. Does well to get underneath it. Takes it on the 20. Runs across field. Gets it back to the 30. To ground. Oh, I'll tell you what. Lister took a chance coming in late on the tackle after it had been made then. Yes, Sonny.
Well, that was a very strange kick, that one, I thought. I mean, maybe the idea was right, but he shaped a kick for a couple of seconds before he kicked it. And
telegraphed the punch,
well, that was it. That was all the time that Heyman needed to... sorry, not Heyman. It was...
Pollard.
Pollard. Yeah. My apologies.
All good.
That it was all the time that Pollard needed to get back and adjust for the kick.
Nachuki with an offload in the tackle. Finds, I think it was Heyman that time. He was wrapped up pretty quickly. It was. Mitchell at dummy half. Pumps it, holds onto it, turns back around the other way and gives it to Venisi. Venisi 25, our last tackle. Mitchell sends it back, finds Picker again. Picker looking to offload. Well, he does. I think more luck than good management. Gives it to Mitchell. Mitchell puts the ball high in the air. Pollard flies, knocks it on. So last tackle, and it'll come back to the West Belconnen side. Just a straight handover as the knock-on on the last tackle. 17 minutes remaining, 16 points the difference. Despite what we've seen in the NRL on numerous occasions this year, it does start to become problematic when the margin between the sides is larger in points than the number of minutes left on the clock.
Well, don't forget in the NRL, the clock stops after every conversion as well once you score a try. So there's a lot more stoppages in the NRL than there is here. And I mean, look, 17 minutes is enough time to score 3 tries. We saw the Bushies concede 2 in quick time before half-time last week. So they are a side that struggles to curb momentum. When the opposition gets on a bit of a roll, they do find it a little bit difficult to put a stop to that. But this Warriors side, they're not giving themselves the opportunities. But having said that, full credit to Tuggeranong, because I don't think they're providing them with those opportunities. They've been very, very disciplined in their game plan.
Now, just looking out there, Matthew Gruber just wandered over to the sideline for a chat for Tuggeranong with his coach. And while I thought it was a head knock that had seen him go to the ground, it must have been his ankle, because his right ankle. He's just another one on the long list of heavily strapped players for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers out there this afternoon. But his right ankle, about twice the size it normally is, largely courtesy of a very large white bandage. Well, the West Belconnen Warriors, they're making it hard work of it, getting out of their own end of the park at the moment. So it's now 16.5 remaining with 16 points the difference. What have the Warriors got to bring their season, or to keep their season alive? At the moment, it's just a case of running it from dummy half. There's Roberts in there doing that. Will they finish with Roberts, or will it be up to Graham to come on and make a difference for them? The kick there from Keeley. That's a pretty good kick. It stopped dead in the in-goal area. Gruber had to pick it up and turn around and get back into the field of play, and he's wrapped up by the 6 and the 7. Brown and Keeley for the West Belconnen Warriors. And Tuakakau, well, that's the penthouse to the outhouse.
Well, we've got a penalty against Tuggeranong here for an incorrect play of the ball. So this is a golden opportunity to get back into the game here.
It is. So we'll blame that on not Tuakakau, but we'll blame that on, I think it was Gruber who made the mistake in the play of the ball, as opposed to Tuakakau knocking it on in there. So West Belconnen, well, they need to score here. They really do need to score here. I mean, 3 tries in 10 minutes is possible, but 3 tries in 15 is probably a little bit easier. Why wouldn't you just take the tap at that point? Surely you could just take the tap.
Giving the ball boys something to do.
Oh, yeah, true. That's Lockhead in there, if you're wondering. He came in very, very quickly. Bailey Lockhead, only a couple of metres out. Which way do they go? Now they go from 10 to 20. Dan Killick-Moran. And now another penalty. That's 2 in a row. Just wonder whether if there's another penalty here, will it mean a play goes to the bin? Killick-Moran tries to push through. He gets to the line. Stops at the line. They don't lose the 10 metres. Oh, but they lose the ball instead. Oh, hang on. Penalty in there.
And I wonder if the referee's going to have the chat anytime soon. Might have just set it to Josh Mitchell then. Last one.
They come back 10 metres, but it's the first tackle in the set now. They give it to Bailey Lockhead. Just to the left of the post. If they score here, we will be set for a grandstand finish. I reckon that was Matt Kelly who came in very quickly then. It was Tuggeranong tackling in numbers at the moment. Working it to the left of the Warriors. Winds up with McQueen. Okay, they're going to bring it all the way across the field to the right here, I think. No, they go the short side. They were set up for the other one, but they give it to Aroha Tuanavai. He's over the line.
He's held up.
Oh, just over. Just held up. Come back out to the 10.
That's tough goal line defence, that, to stop him from that close.
Just bear in mind, we've spoken about the Tuggeranong side on a couple of occasions this afternoon. Not necessarily doing themselves too many favours in defence in recent weeks, so they've really toughened that up in the last 7 days.
The forward
pass, oh dear. And look how much that means to the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Big hug in there. Vanisi very, very happy. A couple of his teammates excited as well. They know what that one means. They know now that there'll be a scrum, so that'll take 30 or 40 seconds. So it'll be down to 13 minutes. They hang on to the ball through the set, get it down the other end, or even just with a kick to send the ball dead over the sideline. It'll be into the last 10 minutes, and it starts to get into that really difficult 3 tries in 10 minutes stage.
It was a very congested set of 6 on their line, wasn't it?
It was.
Wasn't really much in terms of ball movement left to right, and I really expected them to attack this left edge of Tuggeranong a lot more, given the injuries that Tuggeranong have had to deal with throughout today.
They've worked it more up the middle and over the far side. Odd, but that's how it goes. The Bushrangers now on the second tackle. Now it's with Jamal Nachuki. Oh, does what he does best, just runs hard and straight. I don't think we're going to see too much flashy stuff from Tuggeranong at this stage. Now it's with Dragicic, whistle. Got to get back to 10. Just wonder whether they're probably just 10 metres too far out to take a long-range penalty goal, aren't they? You'd almost think about it, wouldn't you? At this point, you're 16-0 up. You'd almost think about it.
We saw Daly Cherry Evans earlier this week try to attempt a penalty goal from about 57 metres out.
Yeah.
Did you take into consideration angle?
Yeah. Did he? Yeah. He's not an NFL goal kicker. Gee, they kicked some goals in that game. Talk about that later, maybe. It's the Bushrangers really looking to put the icing on the cake and lock up a grand final berth. Mitchell He sent the ball across, found Picker. Well, he's running backwards at full speed towards the line. I don't think I've seen that too often. He's just short, markers square, and Mitchell picks it up and burrows over, and I think he may have done it. Oh, he has! The celebrations are going to be in full swing in Tuggeranong. They won't be able to celebrate for too long. They'll have to play again next week. But I reckon that may be just about the season done for the West Belconnen Warriors and Joshua Mitchell. 2 penalties earlier this afternoon. He's had a conversion, a couple of conversions in fact, and now he's going to try. So
you don't need to give him too many opportunities to run from dummy half. So quick play the ball. I think it might have been from Picker. And then from there it was just a simple case of pick the ball up, do what he does best, quick dart out of dummy half, and did it very easily in the end.
Oh, Mitchell, he's had a good game this afternoon. There aren't too many for Tuggeranong who've had a bad game this afternoon, actually. Just having a look at it. Gruber's been very good. Fayette was good until he disappeared. Totu's been... actually, funny, Totu's had a few really decisive runs, but he's also been invisible at times. Does that make sense? You know, he's had a couple of really good decisive runs, but he hasn't perhaps injected as much as you'd expect from him into the game. I mean, Heyman's been great at 5'8". Picker's been very good at halfback. Mitchell's had good delivery of the ball from dummy half. Hickson was good early in the game. Martin's come into play late in proceedings. Nachuki probably not as good a game as he would have liked. Tupou and Dragicic have been enjoyable, as has Fabian Antonio. There's the conversion, 22-0, and we can start to look towards next week. Woden. Last time Woden won a premiership was 1 billion years ago. Oh,
it looks like we're going to have a rematch of last week's semi-final, and we all know how exciting that game was. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. But you know, Josh Mitchell, we're talking about a hooker here that scored 13 tries for the season now. That's unheard of for a dummy half. 13. Shows he's very effective when he decides to run the ball.
13 tries, 68 goals. That's a fairly decent old contribution, hey? So we're into the last 10 minutes of the game, and at this stage you'd be thinking, well, what have West Belconnen got to do? They've got to try and get some points on the board so at least they don't get shut out, but that's about all they've got left. That's a pretty heavy hit on Livanai Tuakakau. I'm just trying to go back and find details here. As we go back in time, I'm going a long way back. So the Tuggeranong Bushrangers may have said looking for their first grand final berth. 2007 they did actually play in a grand final against this West Belconnen Warriors side. So revenge has been a long time coming for that one, you could say.
Should have been stewing on it for 11 years.
There'd be someone in the club who'd be saying, yeah, this will get them back for 2007. The Woden Valley Rams, their last premiership, 1996, I think. And if that's the case, they beat West Belconnen in the grand final back then, and I don't think they've been back to a decider since. So that's going to be a very, very unfamiliar looking grand final here next weekend at Seaford Oval.
Should be an absolute blockbuster though.
It will be. And I've got to say, I think we give plenty of credit at this point to Tuggeranong because they've looked shaky in the last few weeks. They really have looked very, very shaky in the last few weeks. So they've come out this afternoon and it's just, well, let's just focus on what's got us here, got us to where we are as one of the last 3 sides in the competition. And they've simplified the game plan and it has worked, an absolute treat for them. 22-0, 9 minutes remaining.
Yeah, they've done a great job in frustrating this West Belconnen side. I mean, we spoke earlier in the match preview that this West Belconnen side will take advantage of the opportunities they get given, but the secret to Tuggeranong's success today is they haven't given them those opportunities. They've been very, very good in just making them work for every metre from inside their own half.
So Tuggeranong will be looking for their first grand final victory next week. The Woden Valley Rams will be looking for their first grand final victory in 22 years and their 3rd premiership overall. Oh, it's going to be party time at one of those clubs next week. Can we get an invite to, see if we can get an invite to both and just go to the right one next weekend?
Whichever one puts on the free barbecue, I'm there at.
I reckon that'll be a free barbecue at the winning one. Let's see what the West Belconnen Warriors have got. That's Fraser Harvey. He's 10 metres out. You can forgive Tuggeranong for perhaps dialling it back just a little bit at this stage in proceedings. Points for and against mean absolutely nothing at this stage. But, gee, they're not doing that. They're just continuing to defend and defend stoutly. And there's that Tanila mower over there for... It's just a bit hard to pick up at the moment. That white hoarding, I don't know about you, Sonny, but I'm struggling. That white hoarding there, just the angle of the sun at the moment is very, very glary. It was Moa who was in there on the last tackle. So West Belconnen, well, they ran on the last. They really had to. They weren't in a position to try and get another set of 6 out of it. Tuggeranong, it'll just be run it out and run it out and run it out at this stage. And if they get pushed back a few metres, I don't think they're going to worry too much. Either that or we're about to see 4 tries in 7 minutes in a game that people all over the world of rugby league are going to be talking about. Oh, Falcon, ball goes free, picked up off the ground by the West Belconnen Warriors, and I think it might have been Shaw who got in there. It was, and now Lidster.
Maybe they just want a little bit more goal line defence before next week.
Well, maybe they do. They come back now, find Brown. Harry Brown goes right, then goes left, runs around behind a player of his own. Long ball to Keeley. Keeley onto Moa. Moa. He's still there, 5 short of the line. Gee, it's hard to see over there with that glare off that big white hoarding. They'll come back. Give it to one of the big men in Harvey. Fraser Harvey now looks to try and get to the line. He's going backwards, towards the line, but backwards. Slammed onto his back. Now it's with Keeley again. Keeley goes to Brown. Brown has taken off his back shoulder to McQueen. McQueen puts a kick through. Well fielded by Pollard, and Pollard stays in the field of play. He's brought to ground 2 metres from his own line. 6 minutes remaining in the season for the West Belconnen Warriors.
Hasn't he done a great job filling in there on the left wing?
He has. Gruber at fullback. For a man who we thought was down for the count. And he's got that injured ankle, but, well, I tell you, with ankles, provided it's not badly sprained, you can strap it up and do an awful lot with it. As long as you haven't torn anything in there, he'll be okay. He might be a bit sore, but he'll be all right for next week, you would imagine. Chip kick over the top from Pickup. Will roll over the sideline, and it'll be a scrum feed. I don't think they'll care too much at this stage. This really now is the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. I think there are players out there who are just saying, I want to play next week. I just want to play next week. It doesn't matter it's how many, not how at this stage. And it doesn't matter if we give up 2 tries in the next 5 minutes, does it?
That's right, and I think Justin Gitto is going to have a few selection headaches to make for next week. You know, with the injury to David Fa'itiiti, he's going to have to find a solution to fill that gap. And
because the way he came off, it didn't look like he was going to be back, did it?
That's right, and you know, sometimes these injuries can flare up after the game more than during the game. So we'll see how a couple of these boys pull up, but you know, full credit to their performance today. You know, they came into this game, you know, 3 of their last 4 matches they'd lost, and you know, there were question marks. You see a flat pass.
There are some Tuggeranong fans who are showing absolutely no mercy behind us. If you think there are people in Tuggeranong who aren't enjoying this, Sonny, I can tell you, you're absolutely wrong. They want the other side shut out. They want West Belconnen shut out. Show absolutely no mercy. Trying to go through is Harvey.
Just again, phenomenal goal line defence to keep the big men out.
This has been a really super impressive display. And think about what we're going to get next week in the grand final. We'll talk about that in a second. McQueen has it. Going across field. Still going across field. Looks for someone to pass to. Gives it to Dustin Lidster. Lidster. He's on the 10. And held is the call from Oliver Levito. Now a run from dummy half from Aroha Twinavai. He gets to the try line. Or just short of. 5 and last is the call. So Aroha Twinavai plays the ball. They go long ball to the left. Keeley puts the kick into the air, and it's knocked on by West Belconnen. Well, that's really been largely how the afternoon has played out. So we've got 3 minutes left in this one. While Tuggeranong will get the ball on the 10, let's talk about what we're going to get next week. We've seen a tremendous defensive display from them this afternoon. correct?
Absolutely, yeah. They've stepped it up a notch. They've turned up every time that's looked like West Belconnen might just be gaining some sort of ascendancy, attacking their goal line. The players have scrambled very well, and to be honest, the Warriors haven't really looked like scoring.
On the other side of the coin, next week, we have the side that is probably the hottest attacking unit in the Canberra Raiders Cup, coming off in their past 12 games, 11 wins and 1 draw, and a stack of points. A side that really can attack. How mouth-watering is this?
It's going to be so good. It's going to be a battle of the old Raiders halves as well. I think it'll be Mick Picker up against Lincoln Withers, so just another thing to look forward to.
Fantastic. If you're a rugby league fan and you're within... if you're within 200 kilometres of Canberra, 300 kilometres of Canberra, next weekend, get to it. It is going to be one of the best games you can expect. This has been a good one. Next week is going to be even better. And that is just such a mouth-watering prospect. So appetising.
Well, it's not just first grade. I think we've got a heap of games on out at Seaford Oval next Sunday. So there's plenty to do. Big day out at Seaford Oval. Perfect for any rugby league fan here in Canberra.
I'll drop the missus at work at stupid o'clock in the morning next Saturday, and I'll just come out here and I'll just set up camp right where we are, and we'll bring you. You'll get every game with video next weekend here on Bar TV. You get the whole lot, and we'll be providing commentary. Actually, we'll be joined next week by Raider Nick from the Mix 106.3 Raiders on Mix team on board for some of the commentary action as well next week, Sonny. And I guess this is where am I allowed to mention that we're up for a gong now for our Raiders on Mix coverage?
You may as well. Give yourself a plug, Chris. I think you've deserved it. So,
yeah, it's and mate, I've got to say, big surprise to actually get it. It's the first year we've done our local production on rugby league commentary on Mix 106.3 on local radio for covering the Raiders games, and we're up for a commercial radio award. The finalists came out last night at midnight. I was not sitting up waiting for it. I got a message from one of the other guys who was. I was up playing with my granddaughter, who decided at the age of 13 months old or 14 months old that it's more fun to keep Nanny and Poppy awake at midnight than to go to sleep. But yeah, the phone went ping ping and I got a message. Oh, have we got a man of the match award this afternoon, John? We do. Oh, well, there we go. I didn't think we had one of those. John Croyder from the Canberra Raiders Cups just joined us. But anyway, yeah, so we've picked up a finalist for our radio coverage on Mix 106.3. Raider Nick will be with us on the grand final coverage next week. Alongside me, Sonny will be there. We'll have a chat with John Croyder from, if you've got a few minutes, John. Yeah, he's nodding his head. We'll drag a few other people in as well. We might make it a fairly big afternoon in terms of that grand final, and we do look forward to your company there. We've got about 60 seconds left in this one, and it is going to be nothing short of a bottler next week. We can start our summary, I think, here, Sonny. What do you reckon?
I think you're right. Who are your contenders for man of the match today?
Oh, look, I've already nailed my colours to the mast, and I've got no reason to change my mind, and I'm going to stick with Adu Tupou. I just think he's provided enough impact. He was a player that they gave the ball to an awful lot, and I reckon in the first 60 minutes of the game, he was really the focal point of their attack. He got the try that was really crucial for them early in proceedings, and that's him there now, isn't it? Yeah, that's him still out there now, still going in a game that with a 20-point margin in the last minute, and he's still trying to add more points to the scoreboard. So I'm very happy to go with him. You got anyone else?
Well, I mean, I would have a dark horse in Jack Heyman. I think slipping into that 5'8" position today, and as we see full time about to be called, and a well-deserved victory for the Bushrangers. But yeah, I think Jack Heyman, he stepped into that 5'8" role very well. He controlled the side nicely and had a few nice little kicks in behind the defensive line and just played smart football. But
he's had a good game. I think Josh Mitchell had a good game at dummy half. He's been very reliable today. But it wasn't the usual suspects for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Our commiserations go to the West Belconnen Warriors. Tough way to go out, but there's always going to be a winner and a loser this afternoon. And this afternoon it was the West Belconnen Warriors who could not even trouble the scorers. That's a disappointing end of the season to them, but 22 points to nothing, the final score here. And let's just make sure we've got this right. I've got 3 tries and 5 goals, correct? Correct. 3 tries to the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, courtesy of Adu Tupou. And how different were the 3 tries?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you had Tupou just off a rebound, a bit of a ricochet, a bit of luck for Tuggeranong, and then Tui Kakau plucking the ball out of absolutely nowhere on that far side. And
try of the day.
And then Mitchell, just a bit of smart work out of dummy half. So Yeah, there weren't any real similarities between the tries scored, but again, just a very, very simple game plan today going into the game for Tuggeranong, and it's worked a treat.
Well, there's plenty of people from the Tuggeranong Bushrangers Club who have waited a very, very long time for another crack at a premiership. On the other side next week, it'll be the Woden Valley Rams, who have waited a very, very long time for a premiership as well. 22 years since their last one. Not even game to try and pick a winner at this stage. We'll have to do it next week, and I'll give you some sort of a shot at it prior to next week's game. But Sonny, let's wrap this one up this afternoon. Any other thoughts that you've got about how this game's turned out today?
I just want to congratulate Troy Thompson and the West Belconnen Warriors on a fantastic end of the season. They started the season brilliantly with a couple of wins to start off, and then kind of went missing a little bit towards the middle area, but they came home very strong, and they've definitely done themselves proud in the last couple of weeks with the finals football. As for Tuggeranong, all the best next week. It's going to be an absolute ripper out at Seaford Oval next week, so as we mentioned before, if you've got nothing to do next Sunday, make sure you're out here.
Absolutely. We'll bring it all to you. Every game will be live on Bar TV, commentary on the main game, and a little bit of additional colour and excitement during the course of the afternoon. But as you can see down at ground level, the West Belconnen Warriors, look, I think they've realised in the end, and that's the thing, they've had probably 15 or 20 minutes late in this game to come to terms with the fact that they just came up with against a side that was better on the day. So while it's disappointing for them, here come the victors now. It is the Tuggeranong Bushrangers being led off the field. There's Josh Mitchell, and look at their fans around them. They make their way off. There's plenty of happy smiley faces. They'll be able to enjoy it for tonight, but gee, it's going to be a tough week in Bushrangers country next week, and I just wonder what the Woden Valley Rams are thinking right now.
Absolutely. Well, they got to soak it up. This is new territory for Tuggeranong, so it's going to be an exciting week for the club.
Well, we'll have the interview with our man of the match for you very, very soon, available via Bar TV. But I don't think there's a great deal else that we can throw out there this afternoon, other than that we've got 7 nights ahead where I'm going to struggle to sleep, because I'm really excited about this one. Now, I'm really looking forward to the grand final next week. Grand finals are always good, but this one, where you've got one side striving for their first premiership and the other side haven't won one in a couple of decades, it's going to be a very, very special day. To all the old Woden Valley Rams fans, get here to Seaford Oval next week. To the entire Tuggeranong Valley, come on down. Let's pack this place out next week. Let's see if we can get Seaford Oval of old back and have it absolutely chock-a-block full of rugby league fans as we get something new, something different in rugby league next weekend. I'm looking forward to it, and Sonny Singh, I know you are as well. Thank you very much for your company this afternoon.
Not a worry, I'll see you next week, Chris.
On behalf of everyone involved in the Osbrokers International Canberra Raiders Cup and our good friends at Bar TV who bring you the pictures every week, this is Chris Coleman signing off from Seaford Oval this afternoon. We look forward to the grand final in 7 days' time, but repeating the final score today, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers 22, the West Belconnen Warriors 0. Thanks for your company today.